I've often said here on the show that one of the stories, or many of the stories that come out, of course, of the Montecito mansion, it's so hard to take seriously, isn't it? And when you think about it, with Prince Harry's best-selling book Spare, whichever way you look at it, it's just a tabloid story. It's written in a tabloid sort of style, and it's meant to shock you. Of course, a lot of the stories, as we now know, have been debunked by so many people. Told you many times on the show, I find that particular story about the young lady that was suddenly the older woman incredible and, really, I think, really rude. And of course, Prince Harry clearly has no filter because he talks about people, literally who are in the present and tears them apart, basically, ruins whatever credibility they may have, and then is worried necessarily about when people attack back. What about their consequence? Well, it doesn't matter to him. It's interesting to note, though, that this particular story that he included in Spare is now once again up for serious debate. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you today. Hope you're all well. By the way, lovely to. We'll have a wave. Yes. I'm glad, by the way. Yes, you're right. Yeah, I know. I'll get back to. I have to hold it. It's hard. It's. I know. Multi-skilled, I think it's called in the modern world. By the way, I must just share this with you. It made me laugh. There was a story in the paper the other day about this guy that had done the self-service checkouts in his local supermarket, bagged it, shopped it, everything. And then he decided to pop in the canteen for a cup of tea. A true story. It was a letter, I think, in one of the newspapers. And they said, oh, you can't come in here. It's just for workers. He said, well, with everything I've done, I think I am one, aren't I? I mean, I don't know how true that story is. Very funny, though, isn't it? And actually, we could all stake claim to being a worker in these places, couldn't we? Back as ever to your breaking roll story of the day. This really is a fascinating story because, as we now saw on that Netflix documentary, just how disrespectful Meghan Markle was to the late monarch with a fake curtsy, which she then made such a drama out of, sat next to Prince Harry, who, at least, as I've said before, looks a little bit chaste, not enough in my opinion, but a little bit. But then when you read the version in the book, you kind of think, well, this is a little bit different to the version they put out on Netflix. As with everything with Harry and Meghan, it never is the same story. But here's exactly where it gets interesting, because they've cited the sources that were absolutely there. So I tracked one of them down, as one can imagine. Very good friend, in fact. And apparently this is the bit that really is up for conjecture, because when you think about it, they said, oh, well, we're going to meet the Queen. Apparently Meghan was nervous. She did a very quick lesson in curtsying from, of course, Fergie, the Duchess of York, and then her daughters, who, let's not forget, she already knew. Now, there's two things that really don't match up here, right? And this is really blistering lies that you just kind of think this is ridiculous. First and foremost, right? Basically, she says, or Harry says in the book, that the Queen, making small talk, asked Meghan exactly, her thoughts on President Trump at the time, who was the President of the United States. That, according to that source, never happened. Her Majesty would never make political small talk with someone she just met. It just wouldn't be the norm. Why would you? Incredible. And the second piece of information, which is a lot harder when you think about it, is, as I said, Meghan was chummy with Sarah's daughters, the Duchess of York's daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, right? Now, apparently, when the Queen exited that particular venue, alongside her was none other than His Royal Highness the Duke of York, Prince Andrew. And apparently, according to Prince Harry, Meghan asked who was that. And that reassured Harry, because she had no idea who Prince Andrew was, that she had not Googled them. Now, again, this is not really true. Apparently, she met Prince Andrew and shook hands with him. And let's be honest, if you are friendly with two daughters completely related to the late monarch, and you've looked at each other's pictures on your phone, you would have seen Prince Andrew. The daughters are incredibly proud of him, love their father to bits, and have a lot of pictures on their phone. Trust me, there is no way that she would not have known who Prince Andrew was. So either way, once again, someone is not telling the truth. I'd love to know what you think to this particular story in the comments below. This comes from an impeccable source at source on that day. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.